Hello, everybody. Hope you're all doing fantastically well. It is Connor here. We are back with another episode of the Rumour Mill. What's going on? You can see all the comments in the section below. Yeah, listen, last night, Jesus, everybody, last night, terrible, terrible when it came to audio, terrible when it came to the camera antics. But shout out to Gabe, shout out to everyone who sorted out that debrief last night. The comments were amazing. It was a really good show. I think we're on 8,000 views real time now when it was like an hour and a bit show, and that's overnight. So shout out to you guys. That's great numbers for us. So yeah, thank you so much for that. It was an absolute nightmare. An absolute nightmare for me personally. Basically, let me just level with you guys. I decided that it was a really good idea to spill a cup of tea on my laptop. Good idea, Connor. Real good idea. So the tea ran into the ports, and yes, it was chaos. I was losing my mind as the debrief was live. So apologies for that one, and it has taken great effort for me this morning to get this back up and running. It's taken nearly 2 hours, computer updates, all this sort of crap. So thank you so much for being patient with me and sticking by for the show. It's chaos. It really is chaos here in McGilligan HQ, and we're back here with, I think, your favourite show of all mornings. It is the Rumour Mill, and we're going to be getting into all of this stuff. But before that, I'm going to get into your comments. And as Jim says, it was a good show. It was a good show last night. I will say so myself. Gabe stepped in for a little bit. Brownie was there. Make sure you check that one out. He's here. I am indeed. Morning, Connor. It says Derek Delboy. It's a sad day for seeing a club legend leave, but we know it's the best decision for all parties involved. We'll get into that, buddy. Yeah. Morning, all. Hi, Jay. Hi, everybody. Guys, as well, listen, memberships always get a shout out as well. YouTube memberships, you can join for a couple of quid a month. You get a couple of extra perks. The Patreon is flying. We had another podcast go out this morning. That's 2 podcasts in 2 days. Well worth the shout. And obviously, what I like to do on the Rumour Mill, everybody, is follow a few things up, get you guys, as I say every single morning, a little bit of an understanding of what's going on as well. So I'll always follow up what's going on, like with Luke Ayling and stuff like that. I've not read the Athletic report yet this morning, but I woke up this morning to 2 or 3 messages, saying that everything's done, and that was at sort of like 6 a.m. So, yeah, I just wanted to read out a couple of bits that I've got when it comes to Luke Ayling and stuff like that. So make sure you stay tuned. You guys might be interested. It might have detailed everything on the Athletic anyway. This is just what I've been told as a bit of an external. So it's, yeah, might interest you. So make sure you're slapping a like on the video. It gives me an indication that you're enjoying the content as always, everybody. Once dropped my phone. Let's have a look. A couple of more. Everyone, hi Jace. Good evening from Australia. Hello, my mate. Hello. Is it true Gelhardt and Cresswell heading to Rangers on loan? I think it's going to have to be on loan, mate. From what I gather anyway, they're on, Gelhardt in particular, I've said several times, is on ridiculous wages. So Leeds are going to have to put some compensation in there. I don't think it's going to be Rangers paying 100% of the wages. This is why I was following up about Luke Ayling, because he's initially going to Middlesbrough on loan. Obviously, we know his contract's up in the summer, but I was just interested to see who's paying the wages when it comes to Leeds and Borough as a split. And yeah, it's when Gelhardt is potentially going to Rangers or Celtic. It looks like it is going to be Rangers. I don't know the Cresswell wage structure as such. You can get little snippets of info online. But when it comes down to it, Gelhardt's on a really decent packet, of which I was surprised. So I think Leeds are going to have to put some compensation in there, and that's what happens when you sign players on big wages. Good morning, Connor. Hi, Ethan. Have Brownie give you a job? Not yet, mate. Not yet. I'm still waiting. Need a right back, left back, and 10. Hope we get Premier League quality players in those positions. Yeah, I agree with you, Bowie. Forgot about JB. Morning, Connor. Hello, everyone. Why on earth is Gelhardt on such a big wage? Yeah, Bobby. And it's not. Listen, if sort of like Graham said it at the start, who was on the channel last week, and then I followed it up with a couple of other people who, because you don't know who's got the fingers on the pulse, but Graham was very, very adamant about Gelhardt and saying, look, he's on a big wage. And then I followed it up a couple of people that I used to work with, and they essentially just confirmed it. He's on a big wage, and I didn't expect that, to be quite honest with you. You guys can believe that, choose not to believe it. I presume that's why you tune into the Rumour Mill. Gareth Cromie, thank you so much, my man. Hope you're all good. Hope you enjoy being part of the clan. We're building a nice little membership now. I'd also like to say that you can join a Discord, like nice little WhatsApp group. Led by Obi-Wan, my main guy in there, and a couple of other head mods in the Discord group. Head on over there if you just want to chit-chat about Leeds. We talk about F1, transfer talk, all that good stuff. So, looks like a clear out before we bring a new one in. Jamie, new member of the Patreon as well. Morning, Con. Great to catch you live. Nice to see you not using dial-up this morning. Yeah, mate. I've moved on from dial-up. I've got into the 21st century. So, 5 million quid. Who is it? It's Darko JB. 5 million plus add-ons for his signature. Apparently, that is what Plymouth are willing to offer. Obviously, it may be something that they look at in terms of a loan as well. I think they're talking with Leeds at this moment in time. It could be a loan. It could be another 5 million quid permanent transfer if Plymouth can stump up the fee. Obviously, they've had the likes of Azaz go out this window. They've had Schumacher leave. I believe one of the players has just gone Stoke City as well. I can't quite remember. It begins with a C. But yeah, I'm not that well versed on Plymouth starting 11. But they've lost a few players. Obviously, they've lost backroom staff over the past couple of years as well. So I think they're looking to bring in some artillery a little bit there, and obviously Leeds owning Darko JB. Leeds not really giving JB a pathway to that first team. It's going to be interesting to see whether or not a permanent move, 5 million might be a little bit too much for Plymouth, but that's what's been rumoured this morning. Or a loan is apparently being discussed with Leeds United. Sean, we ain't getting 5 million quid for him. Yeah, I agree, mate. There's no chance we're getting 5 million quid for him. Yeah, that's a couple of rumours where I've looked at it and thought, well, I mean, we paid 5 million quid to Man City for him. It's interesting with JB from the start because they didn't put a buyback clause on him, and they've got buyback clauses on pretty much every single one of their youth players. So fascinating to see that if City were to sell him on and feel that he could have made it to the top, they'd have definitely put that clause in his contract. They didn't do that. So, what does that say really when it comes to JB? He's never been given a pathway into the first team. Maybe you guys believe that he should have had that. I'd have liked to have seen him. I'd have liked to have seen him at points, but I think there was a cup game, wasn't there, at the start of the season where you were looking at him and going, he's just miles off it. And we all thought he'd maybe be okay in that scenario, but Richard said, we will regret it big time letting Cresswell go when it needs to be Cooper. Bowie says, this was JB season to make a name for himself, and DF didn't give him a chance. Shame, really. Yeah, interesting there. Like a lot of people looking at Auto, well, obviously, and that sort of scenario. That Azaz guy, yeah, he was a good player, wasn't he? I think he's gone to Borough as well. Borough putting some good additions in this window. Maybe there could be Cresswell, there could be, other loan players looking up there as well. We'll have to wait and see on that one when it comes to Charlie Cresswell. But yeah. Now, I wanted to talk about this morning drastically. I think this is a big thing for us when it comes to the fullback scenario. Now, I don't want to rant on about it too much, but obviously we heard from Daniel Farker in his press conference the other day that he kind of just shuddered when it was Luke Ayling was mentioned and sort of did this with his head. I can't remember the exact quotes for it, but he was essentially saying that, look, I'm not going to be discussing Luke Ayling. He's a great servant of the club, but, they are just rumours at this moment in time. Now, from what I've been told this morning, this Luke Ayling deal has been going on, obviously, for the best part of the week, as we know, but it was pretty much finalised 3 or 4 days ago. Very, very close to Daniel Farker's press conference. So I do think to myself, like, I wonder right now if Daniel Farker is putting on the most incredible poker face ever. I don't understand why, as a manager, you don't come out and just say, we're exploring options or we're active in the transfer market. I don't understand how that's going to somehow backfire on you and scupper negotiations. It's not. You can be active in the market and just say that. It's no problem. And it gives the fans a little bit of reassurance that you're actually doing something in this window. So I don't really understand why he didn't address that. But obviously, you can't talk about Luke Ayling's immediate future and say, look, it's signed, sealed, and delivered. From what I've been told this morning, it pretty much was signed, sealed, and delivered, even during that press conference. But at the same time, it does feel right now that if Leeds don't go out and do fullbacks, I mean, we've not lost a mass amount of quality, in my opinion. We haven't lost a mass amount of quality when it comes to Luke Ayling. We've lost quality when it comes to Jed Spence. But they're two right-back scenarios. I do not want us as a club to ignore left-back now, because the immediate focus is right-back, because we've let two players go from that position and the immediate focus is in that position. They've got to go and do a left back. They've got to go and do a right back. Simply put, if they don't do a left back and a right back, Leeds United are going to be playoff bound, and that's it. And a lot of you, including myself, think that we're going to be playoff bound anyway. But if they don't do their due diligence right now and bring in a fullback, a proper fullback, dependable, reliable, someone who's going to play all those minutes, we are no way in hell getting automatic promotions. We're just not. There is no, but I didn't agree with him what he said. I've mentioned this before when he talked about balance. He's wrong. There is no balance in that back line when it comes to left back and left back and right back. I don't know, if that was sort of lost in translation or whatever. I doubt it was, but they've now obviously let Luke Ayling go, which I think is a good move. I think he's a really, really good move because it's a cracking move for Luke, and it's a good move for the club, Leeds United. I asked about the loan structure, and this is what I got back. I would Middlesbrough are paying the majority of his wages, so I don't know what that means. So Leeds are clearly still making a contribution to that, for the remainder of the 6 months. Borough have a couple of uncertainties. McNair contract up. A couple of others have had injury problems, so they'll take a long-term view and make decisions then. Obviously, they're getting Luke Ayling on a 6-month deal to start with, and then they'll make a long-term sort of decision on him. But obviously, you're having a player there in Luke Ayling who is not good enough anymore and hasn't been good enough for a while. And there's a number of Leeds players who fall into that bracket. But they have to, as a club, start to regenerate that back line. And honestly, right now, I'm not getting concerned as such, but it just seems that as a fan base, and all we can do is say, well, the 49ers will be cooking in the background. Let's hope the 49ers do it. And that's all we can do. That is all we can do right now, because it is exceptionally quiet. And when the manager's delivering verdicts like he was in his press conference, we've seen immediately that essentially, he didn't lie or anything like that in the press conference, but he sort of deviated away from anything Luke Ayling bound. So he's not lying there. But just a couple of gestures, I was a bit like, oh, well, maybe Luke Ayling isn't going. Then he was kind of shaking his head like that when the deal was essentially done. So that makes me think that we are doing stuff in the background. Romano released the other day that we're in for Carvalho, So that's a positive thing. It's a positive thing that Farker clearly doesn't want to talk about anything. Okay, fine. I would like him to just say that at least we're active. He's not doing that. Fine, fair, no problem. However, if we are doing stuff in the background, then I'm happy with that. I am more than happy with that. But what we are looking at now is a complete regeneration of that back line. Spencer's gone. Rodon will be gone at the end of the season unless we can get him back. Cooper will be gone. Ayling will be gone. Shackleton will definitely be transferred out. Firpo, I think he'll be gone at the end of the season. I think we all think he'll be gone at the end of the season. Byram is in my opinion, not going to be a Leeds player next season. He might be, but I don't think he will be. There is a lot of regeneration right now when it comes to Leeds. So my worry is that they are just almost happy with what's going on, but they must be going for a fullback. If they're not going for a fullback, they're so negligent and naive, cocky and arrogant. They are very, very arrogant right now if they don't think they need fullbacks to get automatic promotion or to get promotion. If we're getting those playoff spots and we have, we're going up against these sides who actually have balance, i.e. Southampton or Ipswich, whatever. I know we've beaten them twice, but the point is, if we're going up in a playoff race against some of these sides who have quality and they start to find Leeds' problem areas, which are the fullback regions, and we've got significantly weaker, and Leeds have had the opportunity to invest, and they haven't enacted on that. They haven't acted on that, I should say. Then it's our own fault. It's our own fault. So, Drama was a starting member of the promoted side, but it seems Farker doesn't trust him. That's another fullback that's gone. Hi, Mace. In Farker, we trust. Yeah, hopefully. Just a bit gutted. Stephen says that Ayling isn't getting a proper send-off. And listen, he might do. He might get a send-off. There might be something there of which we see with Luke, but he does seem to be following that click mold. And yeah, it is a bit. It's just, especially if the club know it's been done and they've known. I don't know how they do it, but it'd have been nice to see something at Peterborough. It would have been nice because you expect this Luke Ayling deal to be wrapped up quickly now. And it just, sometimes the club, I just think, what are you doing? Why? Just announce and listen, the transfer dealing is being done, so it's really complicated. It's really, really complicated. And if it gets wrapped up quickly this week, then he could be playing for Borough, in the next couple of games. So what's he going to do? We can't, you can't roll out the red carpet for him as such. But if there's interest from another club and it's going the way that it has gone, which has been very quickly moved on and has been something that's been in the pipeline for 10 to 14 days now, I don't know, you feel like maybe the club could have done something, or I don't know, at the end of the Peterborough game, at least just do something which is going to, I don't know, please the fans a little bit. I don't know what that would be. Suggestions welcome, but yeah. Let's have a quick look at some of your comments. We've got Diego Montero, Connor, don't worry. And Sam Byram is staying. Be lucky to get in one or two. I think we'll be in for Roberts at 100%. Yeah, I think Roberts would be a really good move. I think, after sitting back and thinking about it, I think that would be a better move probably than a Nico Williams, just purely on the. I was very much Nico last week, but and the week previous, but I have a couple of days previous, but I have thought to myself with Williams, maybe it's that wing back option that we don't need. Maybe we need a little bit of a real strong rear guard at the back, and then just let our front players go and do their thing. Let them have free rolls. But let's not get away from the facts here. The facts are they need a left back, they need a centre back, and they need a right back, because we know that Cresswell's going to go this window. So that's us down again. Cooper's going to be gone in the summer. Rodon's going to be gone in the summer. And there's potential Strout might be gone in the summer as well. Apparently PSG's interest is still there. And Strout's out as well. A lot of discussion about Chris Mepham at Bournemouth. I'd welcome that signing. I really would welcome that addition. So, yeah, it's a lot. They've got a lot to do. And of all this sort of... And the reason the thumbnail's saying naive is because it's a cry. It's a cry to everybody at Leeds to not be in that bracket, to really, really attack this transfer window, really attack it. We've started a regeneration process in the summer, but now we're looking at a scenario where we probably all, as a fan base, didn't really look at this and really evaluate it long term. We are looking at a scenario where 7 or 8 defensive players, might be on the move in the summer, and now you have to start that process. You have to start that process of moving players on who aren't going to feature. Charlie Cresswell, okay, fair enough. But then bringing players in as well who are there for the long term, there for the Premier League vision, and also there for, a number of years, hopefully. So this is something that Leeds need to start addressing now. A left back, a right back, and in my opinion, a centre back needs to come in this window. And that's before we've even started talking about a number 9 or a 10. My worry is right now that if they bring in 1 or 2, and this isn't reactionary at all. It's not, because we all knew Ayling was going. We didn't know Spence was going. Obviously, Drame's gone at the start of the season, who was another right back at the club, but he was Deadwood, so fair enough. They've got rid of him. But they've at some point got to start, as I've said, bolstering that back line. And then, you build from the front. We know that, and we've been leaky at the back. We've got one of the best defenses in the division. However, away from home, it's not been a strong rear guard. We were speaking last night on the debrief, and we have to be absolutely thankful. In my opinion, we have to be so thankful that we've had Joe Rodon and Pascal Strout being such features for the club. Remember in the season when Ben White was at the club, And Ben White featured pretty much in every single game. I think he did feature in every single game, didn't he? Played every single minute. It was dependable, reliable, and quality. Struijk and Rodon have pretty much featured in every single game as a pairing. Ben White that season was chopping and changing with Cooper, was chopping and changing with Struijk, obviously. There was multiple different defensive partners for Ben White. But the constants this season for Leeds have been Rodon and Struijk as a partnership. We have to be so thankful of those two because they've been brilliant as a partnership, superb in so many respects. And for me, without any disrespect, I think the fullbacks have been one of our weaker regions this season, really weak. So when you look at the general consensus of things, you know, Struijk's ability, Rodon's ability, Ethan Ampadu just to cover the left-hand side and cover the right-hand side when needed has been huge. That it's almost worked as a back three because the chopping and changing of the fullbacks has been so often. Now, can we continue that into the second half of the season? I don't think so. I really don't. Yeah, Del, I don't disagree with what you're saying, mate. Hi, Paul. Hope you're all good, mate. Hope you're all good. Yep, has to be sorted. Mr. Anthrop says you've got to admit it's chaos and we'll take some sorting. The squad is in an absolute mess. I don't think it's a mess. I really don't, and I don't want to go too reactionary here, and I don't think it is reactionary. But I think what it is, Anthrop, is what we're seeing right now. What we're seeing right now is, and with Luke Ayling going, it might hit some fans properly when he actually signs for Borough. But when Cooper goes, I think we're going to see a lot of fans going, oh, okay, this is like thoroughly over now. That period, that era at Leeds is done, completely done. And moving into that next period, we tried it with the manager and we completely failed. We got Jesse Marsh in after one of the greatest tacticians of all time led the club into the Premier League, and we got, without any disrespect, an American car salesman to replace him. Now we're looking at a different cycle when it comes to players as well. And you can put those player cycles into what Bielsa had as well, because Bielsa apparently wanted 11 new players and Leeds didn't deliver that, of which we didn't know. But the player regeneration maybe needs to start happening there. It hasn't. And what we know in football, we've seen it with Liverpool at the top level, you've got to regenerate in every single window. You know, Liverpool had Henderson, Firmino and co and all that sort of lot, Mane, all those players, Thiago, they've all sort of gone out of it now, those Champions League winning players, you know, Premier League winning players, they've had to regenerate. Leeds have got to do the same thing at a relative level. They've got to start doing it. And I pretty much think right now that a left back should be a starting point. A right back should be, you know, maybe the next point. And the centre back then should, but this whole thing that Farke was on about being opportunistic, I understand that, but they've known that this has been coming. They've been speaking to Borough for a decent period of time. They've known Luke Ayling's contract has been coming up. They've known that Liam Cooper is leaving in the summer. They've known all of these things. So my issue with Leeds at the minute, and something that has knocked me off, is why haven't they done something on the 1st of Jan? Why haven't they done something on the 2nd of Jan? And listen, they've got time to prepare for this. But right now, and how Farke was talking, using the word emergency continuously, they've got one game a week in January, so focus on transfers. And I just don't want them to let it go for too long. It's the 10th of Jan right now. 10th of Jan. To sort 3 or 4 players, in my opinion, of which we need. 2 or 3, if you just want those to be a bit standard there, but 2 or 3, if they don't let like a Cresswell go, then when do we start that? Are we just waiting for the right opportunity to come up? You know, I just want us to be, the whole notion of when the 49ers were coming in and when we've gone down to the championship is, I remember the word being used, aggressive. I don't really see this as being aggressive. I continuously coin the phrase of us being the bully boys in the division. We did that a little bit with Yoel Perot, of course, but I want us to take some of the division's best players. I want us to put some of those players in our starting lineup. Nathan Wood, Pring at Bristol City. Really good options there. Really good options. You know, Connor Roberts will be and they're all, the annoying thing is we're not involved in negotiations, but we know it's doable. We all know it's doable. Luke says, after Aaron's and Manning, he's shocked they're keeping it quiet. But Luke, I don't really know what that means. Like, it wasn't quiet on Southampton's side either. You know, when it came to Aaron's and Manning, you know, it was very, very obvious that Southampton were in for both of them as well. You know, from the start, from what we were told afterwards, that was blatantly put out on social media as well. Southampton then got Manning done. You know, you're gonna have competition throughout football. There are going to be, for some of these players that we're talking about, Connor Roberts, Nico Williams, there are going to be 5 or 6 clubs probably talking to Forest or interested in you know, Burnley and Nottingham Forest's, you know, 2 decent players there. It's not just going to be Leeds. And if they put it out on social media, then everybody's going to be like, oh my God, Leeds are in for him, so then we'll go in for him. I don't understand that notion. I don't understand. Look, that is, for me, it's hysteria, really, because we've always seen that on social media. Oh, we've got to keep it quiet because other clubs are going to know. Yeah, because agents aren't. It's not agents' jobs to be talking to clubs continuously through a 12-month period. You know, that's going to be happening off the cuff. That's going to be happening every single day. You know, player might not be happy, so put the feeders out. That is going to be happening every single day. So Roberts and Nico Williams might have spoken to clubs right now. It's not just going to be Leeds. And if we put it out on social media, or if Fabrizio Romano talks about it, then other clubs are going to go, oh, actually, bang. That's not going to happen. It might be a rare scenario where that happens. I think Bournemouth did it with Aaron's. But from the start, you know, we all knew that Southampton and Leeds were interested in both players, you know. So if Leeds are aggressive, Leeds get the deal done. You know, we've got a lot to sell there. Shout out to Hugh, new member of the channel. Hope you're good, buddy. Hope you're all good. Graham's apparently active, saying that we need to sign at least one left back, one full back. Yeah, I think the thing with Farke is, I said this last night in the debrief, I think he's very loyal to Sam Byram, very, very loyal to Sam Byram, and I think he sees him as a real option, and I think he sees Firpo as a real option. And it's going to be, as Brown was saying last night, almost like jobs for the boys. One's out, one's going to come in. One's out, one's going to come in, because they both get injured all the time, as we know with Bamford. So I think he sees that, and that they may be our left-back options. I genuinely think we're going to go for a right-back, and we're not going to touch a left-back. I'm really surprised they hadn't had a left-back sorted already and lined up within the first week. I'm really surprised, because we've known that's been a problem. So proactively, you've seen throughout the first part of the calendar season, Byram get injured all the time, Firpo been injured, and you know, them going out of relative form as well, and they've not done anything. And they're waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting for something to crop up. That's not aggressive for me. Andrew, the player is Darko Gyabi. But it is good news. It's. Did he, Nick? Where's he said that? Where's he said that? Send me a link, mate. Maybe I've missed that, but I've never seen it. But I don't know where he said that. Yeah, I don't know where he said that, mate. I don't think he's been quoted saying we are looking for a left back. I must have missed that if he has said that. But yeah, I think we've just got to be positive in this scenario and hope that Leeds are doing their due diligence. As I say, in my opinion, they need three players at the back. Cresswell doesn't feature. And they need to start replenishing that centre-back option. We know Chris Mepham is apparently a loan option that Leeds are looking at. If they don't do a left-back again, they're right, and they've got to do a right-back now as well. If they don't do a left-back, that is a problem. It's a big problem, in my opinion. Fanzo saying we are not pushing Ajay now and looking at other options. Yeah, well, hopefully you're right, and let's hope behind the scenes they are actually putting in that work. And I'm sure they are in terms of recruitment, and they'll get a couple of deals done. Right, guys, we're going to leave it there. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. I'll have the timestamps on the video after this if you want to skip to a certain bit. We've got podcasts that are live now on the Patreon. Well worth it, everybody. And if you want to become a YouTube member, like Hugh and Gareth today, just make sure you click the join button. You can also contribute to the channel and make sure my camera doesn't die all the time by clicking the thanks option, which should be down below as well. But guys, really, really appreciate your continued support. Sorry for the delay this morning. Make sure you slap a like on the video before you leave. If you're not subscribed, what are you doing? There's 35% of you who aren't subscribed, apparently, according to YouTube analytics. Make sure you do so. And I'll be back this evening with another live stream. So I'll see you then. Cheers.